At the end of March, the Briceño administration will complete its second full budget year. And according to the Prime Minister, like the first, his administration has attained surpassing success for Belize and its people yet again.
The economy is growing, expanding in 2022 by an estimated 12.4%, more than 10 times the average annual rate of 1.7% experienced under the United Democratic Party administration. 10 times. Yes, we said it. We meant it, and yes, everybody wins under a PUP administration. More Belizeans have jobs. 95% of those who seek employment are working. 95%. For the first time in the history of Belize, we have an unemployment rate of 5%, thanks to a PUP government. 42,965 workers have received a $1.70 or 51% per hour salary increase because of the recent increase in the minimum wage to $5 per hour.
Prime Minister Briceño also highlighted the restoration of full wages to public officers, teachers, and security personnel, and the restoration of their increments. He announced that in 2022, his government forbore $3 million a month in taxes in order to keep the price of fuel at a moderate level.
How distant now do those bleak final days of the UDP appear? Those desperate times when the government had to borrow $1 million a day to pay public officers' salaries and borrow just to keep the lights on. How distant now are those traumatic times when Belize had effectively defaulted on its international commercial debt and when the valuation of our dollar seemed inevitable. To that chaos and hopelessness, we shall never return. Not so long as we remain faithful to our sacred pledge that everybody for win, todos ganamos.
But the 2023 outlook for one of the global economic powerhouses most closely connected to Belize's economy, the mighty United States of America, is not all good. It is expected that GDP growth in the US will fall by almost 1.5%, along with the global rate of economic growth. These external conditions do not speak well for a country that remains vulnerable to external shocks.
As a small, open, and vulnerable economy, external factors such as extreme climate events, global economic shocks like that caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, high inflation suffered by the US and our other major trading partners, supply chain disruptions, trade regulations, among others, can either help or hinder our fortunes.
But back to the local economy, largely driven by the rebound of the tourism sector, Belize's annual economic growth reached 12.4% in 2022, an achievement praised by the IMF. Such growth, however, was not equal across all sectors. Meanwhile, inflation almost doubled from the previous year, and spending went over budget by some $71 million.
The primary sector, which edged lower by 0.9% during 2022, lobster, chicken, and yellow corn saw increases, while banana, citrus, shrimp, and cattle experienced contractions. Inflation in Belize rose to 6.3% for 2022, up from 3.2% in 2021. Still, these rates were by far below the global rates of 8.8% in 2022 and 4.7% in 2021. On the expenditure side, total spending, including supplementary allocations approved during the fiscal year, is expected to be $1,436 million, which is $71 million or 5% more than the original estimate.
For the new fiscal year, the Briceño administration estimates that it will receive more than $1.4 billion in revenues and grants, an uptick from this year's projections, with expenditure estimated at around $1.5 billion. Areas such as education, land distribution, health, and national security are listed as high priority.
An additional $4 million to expand the free education program to schools in the south side of Belize City and the Toledo district. In addition, $1 million to fund the surveying and processing cost of lots for first-time low-income house owners. In addition, $7 million for the expansion of the National Health Insurance Program in the Orange Walk district. With this move, Madam Speaker, we are going to have over 269,000 Belizeans registered under the National Health Insurance. An additional $3 million for municipal streets and drains, an increase of $5 million to meet the recruitment of an additional 225 police cadets, 110 BDF recruits, and some 60 Coast Guard recruits. As we look ahead, my administration will not fear. We will not weep. We will choose to be bold, and we are determined to do more and to be extra for Belize. From Consejo in the north to Barranco in the south, from Benque Viejo in the west to the Lighthouse Reef Islands in the east, a brighter sun shines, a different, more confident nation awakens.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.